Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here on the show. I'm doing my 7th mock draft. I'm going to pre-record this and upload it at some point on Monday. So let's just get right into it. This is my 7th mock draft, I believe, 7.0. It's the first one I've done after free agency's pretty much finished. So let's start. Number 1, obviously, Fernando Mendoza with the Raiders. No one's even considering alternatives here. The Linderbaum signing obviously supports the assumption he'll be number 1 pick because a veteran center is a huge benefit for a young quarterback. The Raiders obviously need a quarterback, and of course that's a player worthy of that consideration. Only quarterback worth first-round pick in this draft class, if you ask me, obviously. So obviously he didn't work with Geno Smith, traded him, fired Pete Carroll, brought in Clint Kubiak, added Linderbaum, Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker, a bunch of guys in free agency. Number 2, the Jets. I've gone back and forth on how the Jets may perceive this selection. Would Aaron Glenn want a player viewed more as a finished product of Bailey, or one with potentially more upside over Reese? Some of the signings in free agency take the pressure off Reese, contributing immediately, which plays the upside easier, which makes the upside play easier to justify here to the Jets. So Orville Reese. Number 3, David Bailey, edge rusher to the Cardinals. It's a premium position. Although the offensive line I think is more important, there's not a prospect who warrants consideration at this spot. Arizona adds a ready pass rusher to a defense with a tremendous amount of young talent. The trick will be bringing out the best in that group, and I think aiding him is another really big step up. Number 4, Sonny Styles. Everyone was quick to associate Ruben Bain with the Titans, but they did trade for Jermaine Johnson. There's still room for him, and that was considered here, but Sonny Styles is likely to be higher on the board. It'll likely come down to a debate between positional value and best player available in the room. It's easy to envision like Sonny Styles as a Robert Saleh's Fred Warner, if you ask me. Number 5, New York Giants. I'm going to say Jeremiah Love. They've been in competition for some top running backs in free agency like Travis Etienne and Kenneth Walker, but they missed out. That suggests I think they'll take Jeremiah Love with number 5 pick here, but also shows they were willing to make a steep investment in the position. Do they adjust their plans to have Walker be the best player available, who could also be an asset at Jackson Dart? You could have Jeremiah Love and Cam Scatterby would be a really fun duo right there. For the Browns, I'm going to say Monroe Freeling. They filled 3 of its 5 starting offensive line positions, with left tackle and center still undressed. Number 6 overall is a little too rich for any offensive lineman in this class, but the Browns have an opportunity to add a young prospect with supreme athletic skill, set at a premium position. They pick again at 24. It will be at the mercy of teams selecting ahead of them, so their pick of the leader at number 6 here, I'm going to say Monroe Freeling. Number 7, the Commanders, I'll say Ruben Bain. The Titans and Commanders picks are closely linked. If Sonny Styles had been available with Ruben Bain off the board, he would have been the choice. Given the opposite played out in this scenario with mine, Washington had Bain to grip that and close North Armstrong, Odafe Owe, and Kalavon Chase on. Jeremiah Love would have been considered here as well to add. But I'll say Ruben Bain to add to that edge rushers. Number 8, Carnell Tate. They're the latest team to use premium resources to support a young quarterback. Obviously, they signed Travis Etienne Jr. and offensive guard David Edwards in free agency, and they paired Chris Olave with Carnell Tate, Ohio State. Boys right there. Number 9, the Chiefs. They're not often positioned picking the top 10. They did use that opportunity to add a player to premium position. Obviously, they added Kenneth Walker in free agency, so I'm not going to have Jeremiah Love here. Obviously, I haven't gone at 5. I'm going to say Francis Mauga. Juwan Taylor's released, so obviously they need a replacement. And they missed out on the top edge rushers, but they get offensive line help, a really good offensive lineman. Caleb Downs at 10. They signed Brian Cook, the Bengals did, but they still have a void at safety. They take the best player available. Cincinnati had a lot of missed open tackles last season. I hope as Caleb Downs cuts down on that, despite an 11 missed tackle rate in 2025, but definitely will help that defense. The Dolphins, Mansour Delane. Jeff Hafley and the Dolphins have opted not to do a total rebuild. The Malik Willis signing was an example of that. They need to find some reliable pieces for the secondary, considering they're losing essentially everyone from last year's teams, including Minka, who they traded to the New York Jets. Jamal McCoy, the Cowboys at 12. He has the potential to be one of the best players to emerge from this draft class. It's early top corner, but he was injured all of last year. Dallas signed Jalen Thompson, and they compared McCoy with Deron Bland. If Siobhan Revel becomes a player, we'd hope the player you've hoped for, then maybe Bland moves back in the slot where he began his career. Instead of like number 1 or 2, he can be in the slot. But that's if they do take Jamal McCoy. Number 13, the Rams, Sadiq. Look at the board and the players who can make the biggest impact on the team pushing all its chips in the middle of the table in pursuit of the Super Bowl. But Kenyon Sadiq stands out as the best option. Last year's second-round selection of Terrence Ferguson, who was Sadiq's teammate at Oregon, doesn't preclude them from adding to the room. They can upgrade at tight end. Like, you could have Kenyon Sadiq, Colby Parkinson, Terrence Ferguson. That'd be pretty good, man. Number 14, the Ravens, Ava Vega Ione, out of Penn State, back on the board after being involved in the trade for Crosby. The Ravens couldn't move forward with the recently signed John Simpson at right guard and returning Andrew Voorhees at left guard. But Vega Ione is a Raven if I've ever seen one. If I've ever seen one, man. He brings stability for a head coach and wants to instill like a physical brand of football. Just makes so much sense. Let's see, the Max Crosby trade they backed out, so they get their pick back. Number 15, the Bucks, Keldrick Falk. He's young, but not productive, I would say. It's a description that's fit Trayvon Walker, Shamar Stewart. Those players tend to be quality edge sayers at the very least. The hope is they can expand his pass rush profile. They need to help rushing the passer after you shut out in free agency. And he has the length that the team wants. The Jets here at 16, back on the clock. They're no stranger to investing in first-round picks on offensive line help. Vera Tucker just walked out the door as his replacement, Spencer Fano. Enter Spencer Fano. He's a high-quality offensive lineman. Even if there are concerns about his length to play offensive tackle, In this scenario, the Jets have bookend tackles Olo Fashanu and Armand Membo at left and right tackle. Respectively, with Fano at guard, he could also kick outside in a pinch. But you could put him at guard because you already got 2 tackles. Just help your offensive line even more. Number 17, the Lions, Blake Miller. Many are wondering why he's the selection for say Kane Proctor, Cole Blumo, and others. He's the choice to replace Taylor Decker because he's an offensive tackle more in Dan Campbell's image, probably. Number 18, Dylan Thieneman, out of Oregon. As Minnesota continues to turn the page on last season with a new quarterback and a new general manager, he's going to identify more difference makers. And Dylan Thieneman tested off the charts from an athletic perspective and also has been incredibly productive in college. And Harrison Smith, didn't they release him or did he retire? I can't remember. But they need a safety. Easy pick here. The Panthers at 19. I'm going to say Emmanuel McNeil Warren to the Panthers. 2025, he was a step in the right direction for Carolina. But they haven't been complacent in their newfound success. They delivered one of the biggest splashes in free agency by signing Jalen Phillips to like a 4-year, $120 million contract. They continue to build. McNeil Warren is another building block for that unit to add there, if you ask me. Number 20, Cowboys back in the clock. I'm going to say Mekhi Lemon. Another wide receiver seems like overkill. I get it. The team's being aggressive like they had Quinn Williams last year. Or Sean Gary. He had 7.5 sacks last year, but he didn't do shit after that. So, it's not like it's a bad pickup, it's mid. Mekhi Lemon gives him another slot element, allows him to move some of the chess pieces around the board, but he also provides insurance and creates a potential off-ramp. If CeeDee Lamb or George Pickens gets too expensive and they end up maybe trading George Pickens, who knows? I'll say Mekhi Lemon, he's really good. If George Pickens does stay, that's a pretty good trio of receivers. Number 21, the Steelers. I'll say C.J. Allen. By training for Michael Pittman, they elevated some of the pressure to acquire a receiver. They don't have many pressing needs in the present, but they're an older team that should be looking to get younger. Though with C.J. Allen and maybe Peyton Wilson going to be the battery of the future, I'll say C.J. Allen's the pick here. Number 22, the Chargers. I'll take K. McDonald here, defensive lineman. At this stage, may feel a little rich to some people, but he's perfect fit for Jim Harbaugh, if you ask me. The Chargers do a great job of uplifting the talent in the roster, but there are question marks moving forward now that Jesse Minter's no longer there to shepherd the unit. They can find blue chip players to ensure it's more of a marriage and create stability for that group. But I'll say K. McDonald. Number 23, the Eagles, offensive tackle Kane Proctor. There's been dialogue about whether he would play guard or tackle in the NFL. The Eagles love that question, quite frankly, because versatility's always been an asset for them. Lane Johnson's nearing the end of his career, may lead with them to identify some contingencies here. Number 24, I'll say the Browns take Jordan Tyson at 24. At one point, he was committedly linked to the Browns in the top 10. His brother Jalen Tyson obviously is guard for the Cavs. Tyson wouldn't be available this late in the first round if not for his injury history, and that could be a present opportunity for the Browns, depending on how you look at it. Number 25, the Bears. I'll say pick Omar Cooper Jr. here out of Indiana. Ben Johnson wants to be confident in the trio of receivers he has on the field at any given time. Luther Burn began to emerge towards the end of the year, but Chicago's leaving nothing to chance, as they need to prove last season is not like a float. If you're a Bears fan, question why the team would draft another receiver. I encourage you to think about all the possibilities with Ben Johnson pulling the strings, man. Omar Cooper's good. The Bills, 26, T.J. Parker. A.J. Epinesa is a free agent as of this moment. So the only edge rushers on the roster probably exempt from major roster decisions are probably Gregory So, newly signed Bradley Chubb, and last year's third-round pick Landon Jackson. T.J. Parker is the profile they've been drawn to in the past. Perhaps he'll allow them to get off the carousel of acquiring a new 30-year-old every offseason. 27, 49ers, Caleb Lomo. Kyle, he has the athleticism to strive in that system. Trent Loom seems it's coming to an end there in San Francisco. 28, the Texans, Max Ahina-Chor. They signed Braden Smith in free agency, but the sense to me is he's going to play guard. They also have Trent Brown, who's well down the road in his career. They need to draft an offensive tackle here. Chiefs, 29, Avion Trail. They traded Trent McDuffie to Los Angeles, which creates a void in the secondary. The Chiefs been able to take cornerbacks in days 2 and 3 and turn them to quality players. They draft McDuffie in the first round. There's precedent for using a pick this early on this position, but doesn't believe in sinking large second contracts in those players. Kansas City addresses this, but keeps its options open long term. The 30th pick, the Broncos, Casey Concepcion. They've been searching for help at wide receiver prior to the trade deadline. They fell short in the pursuit of Jalen Waddle, but they get a yards after catch monster in Casey Concepcion. Number 31, the Patriots, Zion Young. They've been able to squeeze all the juice from the lemons. It deploys edge rusher, but Zion Young is a hopeful building block because Kayvon Chason departing free agency, so there's a need to fill. And then the Seahawks at 32. King Massador is an older prospect who will be able to help the defending Super Bowl champions immediately. They've allowed Boye and Moffitt to depart in free agency, but depth remains a strength in their efforts to repeat. I think they'll get a King Massador at 32. But that's my mock draft here, ladies and gentlemen. 7th one, so that's all I'll say. Leave a like, comment, subscribe for more. Peace.